Hi, and joining us at the midday office on a very rainy day, we have a name who you popularly know as Vian as well. So that's Adnan Khan.
Yes, hello.
Hi,
Hi.
and welcome to the midday office.
Thank you so much.
So let's start with your journey in the city. By now, your fans already know that you left a luxurious job and a stable income in Dubai and moved to Mumbai. So have you always been a risk taker?
I always say this. There's this one instance where the weight of what I had done. So I had like I saw a film. It really inspired me. I was looking for something. I didn't know what I was looking for in Dubai. I was looking for something, and I saw this film. It inspired me. I told my parents. My fast forward, मैं आपको story बता रहा हूँ. I told my parents. My friends agreed. ठीक है ऐसा हुआ and I moved एक साल बाद after making the decision I moved after a year. The weight of what I did dawned on me at the airport. I'm sitting at the airport. I just said bye to my brother. I said bye to my aunt. And I said bye to my friends. And I'm sitting there. And it was actually McDonald's that inspired that moment of epiphany. क्योंकि मान क्या हुआ? I bought McDonald's and I'm sitting there and I was like, okay, I'm going to go. Bombay में दो तीन दोस्त हैं. I'm going to go McDonald's. And I was like, shit, this is the last time I'm going to eat this McDonald's for a while. So I was so like, then it hit me, and I was like, wow, ये कभी सोचा नहीं था. इससे पहले it was just excitement. I'm going to go. I'm going to kill it. I'm going to do this and that. So no, coming back to your question, I haven't always been a risk taker, but that one moment inspired by the angels, by God, was my first big risk, I think.
Yeah. And from there, having grown up in a different country, of course, in Dubai, and moving to Mumbai, it can be quite a culture shock for people. So was it for you as well?
The traffic used to get to me. The lack of personal space in India used to get to me, because I remember going from Dubai and my first instance of this personal space was in a bus, because in the start I used to travel by bus. I had to save money, as much money as I could, right? I used to travel by bus, and I remember standing in the bus and somebody's like face is like an inch, a man's face is like an inch away from mine, and I was like, yo, this is what do we have a relationship? So a few things were a culture shock, but I just want to tell you something that very beautiful. So in the start, the city took a lot of time to adjust. The roads used to get to me, as I said, the roads, the lack of personal space and all that used to get to me. The roads because in Dubai you have a very organized system of traffic, right?
Yeah.
Here it's not. Laws here all that stuff used to really get to me.
Yeah.
But I was just telling somebody past year and a half, this very beautiful thing has started happening. And after 8 years, I'm falling in love with the city.
Okay.
Yeah, all of it. Before, I used to love the industry, right? A part of the cities that I used to love. I used to love the rain. I used to love the greenery. But these are parts of the city that I used to love. But now, I was just telling my friend, it came out of my mouth. I was like, man, I love the city. I love the city. I don't know. So the culture shock has gone away, and now I feel like I'm representing
the city.
Bombay. Yeah.
Why not? So that's beautiful that your process of falling in love with the city. So do you remember your first home, and what was it finding a home firstly?
My first when I came from Dubai, the first place I stayed in was actually my friend used to stay there. It's called MMRDA in Andheri, East Poonam Nagar, this colony. And it's like these small houses, like small apartments right next to each other, and this really tightly knit community. That is where I first stayed, and with my friend, I was bunking with him. Me and him were roommates, but that just happened for 3-4 months, and then I went to Mira Road. But that was also quite an experience.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Going from Dubai to MMRD. You said the right word. Culture shock was like, it's just that I downplayed the shock. Because my friends had told me before coming, they're like, Adnan, it's going to be hard. So the man in me told them at that time, I'm like, listen, I don't care. I can handle hard. So when I came, these things that were hard, like to adjust, because I had given my word that it's not going to be hard, I just had to stick up to it. Like, yeah, okay. Let's see how bad can it get. So I took it in stride.
And going for auditions and starting from scratch. So and somebody who's come from outside especially. So what was that experience like? Yeah.
in that aspect, I was very lucky in one way, which is that when I went to my acting school, I studied in Anupam K Actor Professor, and I had two friends there. Okay, one Manish Dimri, who's a fantastic actor, guys. You're going to see him very soon in the future on the big screen, and another is Laksh Punjabi. We met in the acting school, and when we got out of our cocoon, the acting school was a cocoon for us. We didn't know what was the world outside. When we got out of it, we had to start auditioning, and I didn't have one contact.
Okay.
I didn't know where to go. I didn't know where the auditions were held. I didn't know the industry. I didn't know the television. I didn't know anything, right? But these two knew 2% more than me.
Okay.
They knew, even they didn't have contacts, even they didn't know where stuff was, but they knew like, okay, just like andheri mein hote auditions. Basic idea. So what we did, we became friends in Actor Prepares, and then what we did was after that, we just met up every day. As soon as the thing got done, we met up every day in the train station. They used to live, by that time I had moved to Mira Road. They used to live in Nalasupara and Dahisar. Yeah. So we used to meet up at Mira Road station and get on the train, head to Andheri, get off at Andheri. We found out from a few people that, okay, the auditions are held in this area, right? And then we would go to that area, and you know what we would do? We'd get off the bus and we'd look. Okay, वो अच्छा दिख रहा है ना, वो एक्टर लग रहा है, चलो come let's go speak to him. Hey bro, कहाँ से आ रहा है? हाँ नहीं, आज ऑडिशन है श्रीजी में. Oh, audition है श्रीजी में, कहाँ? He'll give us the address. Okay, we go there, we get there. Sometimes they tell us stuff like, हम लोग को बोलते हैं नहीं आप fit नहीं हो ये role के लिए, ये वो बहुत बिल्कुल था. When you hear that line, not fit, now I don't know why you take it so personally, but that time when we were young, we're kids, we don't understand that you're not fit for this role, right? We don't understand that. And it was just like, oh, I'm not fit, I'm not good enough, and all these silly thoughts used to come in head. But anyways, that's a part and parcel, right? तो हम लोग उधर से निकलते थे and हम लोग उधर के coordinator को पूछते थे और audition चल रहा है क्या? And this is how for 3 or 4 months every day I would audition in 3-4 different places by just going that वो लड़का मिला था ना last week, उसने कुछ मैसेज भेजा कि देख उसका ऑडिशन इधर हुआ आज. अच्छा इधर हुआ, चलो भागो, 3 hours would run there. इधर नहीं, फिर अंधेरी ईस्ट में we'd run there, and that's how we auditioned for 3-4 months, and that's how we kind of got aware that, okay, in the television industry, these are a few names of the coordinators, and maybe these are like the bigger production houses and all that. I had an incident with, I'd like to share with you, with Balaji, this thing. So, Balaji was like मालूम whispers में ना आते थे इन्हें actors के बीच में, वो बड़ा बालाजी का audition, like oh my god. So I remember एक बार like 1-2 महीने गुजर चुके थे, एक आया कि बालाजी का ऑडिशन है लड़कों के लिए, अच्छा लीड्स के लिए, लीड, wow. So we were in another part of town, and we went all the way into another part of town for that audition, and we went there and they were all like the people were really good looking, and the girls were beautiful. And it was a bigger production, it was a bigger hall for auditioning. And तो हम लोग की थोड़ी हालत खराब, हम लोग बाहर से देख रहे, Manish and Laksh, we're just looking like, it's like, okay, ठीक है. But because we had traveled so much, 2 घंटे लगे थे हम लोग को जहाँ पर हम लोग थे to head to this Balaji audition. I was sweating profusely. Okay. My hair had gotten messed up. I was not looking my best. And when I entered, they said, no, you can't audition here. You're not looking fit for the role. Okay. So, my God, so sad I felt. That was my first interaction with the Balaji, the beautiful Balaji production house. Uske baad, obviously, then I realized, I said, okay, when you're going for a Balaji audition, doesn't matter. You got to clean yourself up there. You got to go prim and proper. And yeah. But that was my one of my earlier interactions with the Balaji production house.
That's amazing. And today, of course, you have made a name for yourself and you are a popular actor. So when, today it's a hectic schedule, I'm sure. So when you do look back at those days, so how does that feel? Because now it's so hectic and back then no work. So how do you look at that whole journey?
I don't look back so much on those days in comparison to now, because for me, the thing that I'm chasing, right, I still haven't gotten it yet.
Okay.
The thing that I'm chasing, and I didn't know it back then, the thing I was chasing was the craft. It was the act itself. It was the art of acting. It was the art that I was chasing. So I still haven't gotten time to just sit like that and say, oh wow, you remember those days when this thing, because in acting I still don't feel I've gotten there.
Okay.
I've still not gotten that performance, that thing, that beauty, the like, you know, where I can sit and say after it's done, the day is done, and I'm like, okay, you remember Adnan when you used to audition first and how. So for me, that hasn't come. But now when I'm talking with you and I'm remembering those days, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like shit. I went through that. Like, oh my god. Yeah.
But a TV actor's life is so hectic. So how did you take to that? Like suddenly you had to jump into when you did get your break. So
I got my break after quite a while. So that while made me really hungry. I was hungry to act. I wanted it. When I did Ishq Subhanallah, the first year and a half, I think Ishq Subhanallah was more tiresome than Katha Ankahee.
okay.
I was raring to go. I remember waking up in the morning. I remember I used to be so tired that I would wake up from sleep and my feet are hurting. Like, I have never experienced that in my life where I'm waking up in the morning after sleeping and as soon as I wake up, my feet are hurting. I'm like, wow, that's another level of tired, but I was proud of it. I was like, I'm like, you know, like we're doing something. God's given us this crazy human mind, this body, like He's given us this beautiful piece of machine. Like our body is like this fantastic machine. Our mind is like the craziest thing. Like we've untapped it. So when I would sleep tired, when I would sleep, I would be like, I'm doing something. So yeah, like I was just raring to go.
Yeah. And I know it's difficult to choose, but since you have had so many, scenes that fans love from both your shows, Ishq Subhanallah and Katha Ankahee. So any moment that you're really proud of?
Don't do
proud
this.
of? Not?
Don't, why are you doing this? This is so hard.
I know, it's difficult. So many scenes, but
I can't do it. I'm not doing it.
Okay.
I'm not doing it because it's like if you ask me my favorite film, okay, so there's still one answer comes to mind, but here Ishq Subhanallah had such magical, for me, very selfishly. It was this one scene I had done with Zara, with Isha, where I think the scene itself was for like 4 minutes.
Okay.
But I did my close for 27 minutes. Okay. I remember the editor called the AD and he's like, how did this man do a close for 27 minutes?
Wow, okay.
But that scene was not for the audience. That scene was not for the makers of the show.
Okay.
That scene very selfishly, very, very selfishly was for me. And it was for the few people in that room. I put on, like I remember when I used to do romantic scenes with Zara, with Isha, I had like this one song which really till today messes me up, right? I would play that song in the background. It was a very romantic scene where she comes, she's in her bridal attire and she's wearing her jewelry and like I removed that and there's just two souls in that scene. It was just two souls, right? And I remember I didn't want that scene to end, so I was just enjoying myself. I was just having fun. That is one of my scenes. And I'll give you another one in Ishq Subhanallah. I remember there was one scene creatively we had done. I'm supposed to narrate, I'm supposed to speak some dialogues to her. But I remember the way we planned it, the way one of the ADs on set came and said, no, what if she's not sitting on the chair and you tell her this? What if she's sitting behind it? And he came and said something. And I was like, oh, what if she's sitting behind it? And what if I don't say the dialogues? What if I write it on a piece of tissue and say it? So like she's sitting, she's upset with me and she doesn't want to see my face. And suddenly one tissue falls and the tissue has the thing that I'm supposed to say written on it. And she says it out loud. And we created this scene over there. And that was for me like such a, creatively, that was such a like a joy to do. It was just a beauty. These two scenes. And in Katha Ankahee, it's just too many. There was one scene I remember. There's an imagination scene I had done. I'll tell you two, okay, off the top of my mind right now because the show is not done. I don't have that time to analyze which one, but the two that I go with, one is when she comes back, Katha comes back to tell me, you know what, I'm coming back to work, but not because of what you said, but because of this thing. That one scene, I remember I enjoyed it thoroughly. And another scene was when I'm imagining she's coming and I'm telling her that, like, okay, I'm not that one bad incident that happened. I am me. That is a mistake I made. A human being makes mistakes, but I'm a bunch of other things, like, these two scenes really got to me, because the way my director Ravi sir makes these scenes, like, yeah.
But when your friends and family do see you today with all these shows and of course all the successes and the fans, so how do they react? Because they've seen your struggle and now they've seen your success.
So I'll be honest with you, my mom and my brother has been my biggest cheerleader. He doesn't care how he looks while or what other people think. He'll walk into a room and he'll sing my praises. And I get so embarrassed. He's like one of those parents. He's like my father in a way. Like he just, like, I'm like, no, I'm not that good, bro. Like, I haven't done, like, but he doesn't care. Like, I get embarrassed. Like, my brother's such a big cheerleader of mine. This rock of a supporter. Like, whenever I'm, like, look, I don't call him much for help and support. Emotional support, mental support. I don't. But whenever I've called him and I've been in my ditch, this guy sets apart his own personal feelings, and he just, like he's like a good brother. My mother, she's a very simple woman. My mother's this gorgeous soul who's a very simple soul, right?
Yeah.
She doesn't watch films, she doesn't watch television, period.
Okay.
She used to watch a few Pakistani dramas, but that's it. Her support, her undying support, has just been staying with me. She had an option to go to Dubai and stay with my brother and live a luxurious life. This was when I was starting out, when things were really bad for us financially.
Yeah.
But she stuck with me because she knew I needed her. And that has been her support, and I'll never forget that. She always had the option to go and... So that is there. But with my friends, I get really embarrassed. Like, I have some friends who tell me, Adnan, you're doing really well. And this and that. I just get really embarrassed. I'm like, I don't want to talk about work. Like, with them, I'm like, no, it's just, listen, that is a different world. What you see right now, this is different. When you see me with my friends, I'm a little different. Like, I'm still the Adnan who's in Dubai, who never left. I'm still that guy. But I'll tell you, when it gets to me, when does the praise get to me, is when people who kind of criticize, healthy criticism of my performances, when they come and tell me you're doing well. Or, like, for one instance, I'll tell you, this is a very good thing. Dancing is not my forte.
Okay.
It's not. As from when I was a kid, stuff happened to me in my life where dancing was messed up for me, right? Adnan wasn't a dancer. But recently in this show, just over the 9 years, shows making me dance, events, people making me dance, just forcing me. And I have this mentality, I can't back down. I can't say I can't do it. Otherwise, I'll not be able to live with myself. So, just doing it again and again. And recently, I did one dance where people were clapping.
Okay.
And that day, I had this beautiful belief that you can anyways do anything you dream of, right? But that day, that became a very hardcore reality.
Yeah.
That people used to make fun of me, of my dancing. I've been ridiculed in the industry itself for my dancing abilities.
Okay.
But just the fact that that day, people clapped for me. Or even people came and told me, Adnan, you know what? Good, man.
That's a personal win. Yeah.
And yeah, for me, that was like, oh, shit.
I can do this.
It means, you know what that means? It means you can do anything you set your mind to.
True. Yeah.
That day was crazy for me. So yeah, sorry.
Yeah. But so, do you think you're prepared for a dance reality show or a Khatro Ke Khiladi or a Big Boss?
I'm ready for anything.
Big Boss?
I'm not a fan of... That's not my jam.
No.
I can't spend my time doing that because... You see, I have to be creative in a day. You know, on my days off, if I have to do something. I have to either watch a film, I either have to write, or I have to go for a dance class, or I have to go for a fight class. I have to do something. It is only on train journeys or on like a vacation which I force myself to take that I allow myself to do nothing. Nothing productive. So it's really difficult for me to be in that zone. That's not right now. That's not what I want. Like right now, I have a lot to do. So Big Boss is not for me at the moment. Khatro Ke Khiladi, bring it on. Though I'm like, you know, kyun? I'm like,
Yeah.
spider bites me, ghomna ho jayega. I'm like, yo, chill, man. Why do I need that in my life?
True. Yeah. But do you think a dance reality show could be possible?
I thought about this after that dance.
Huh.
I said, Adnan, maybe one day.
Yeah. Why
Just
not?
to prove to myself that, yeah, why not? I might not win it, but just facing up and fighting the battle is a victory for me in these situations. Yeah.
Absolutely. And now some fun questions.
Mhm.
So, if you have a week to yourself where you could do anything that you want, what do you think you would do?
Okay, two opposite answers. I'm giving you two. One is Alaska. I want to go to the Alaskan forest and spend time there for a week. Childhood dream of mine. And the second one is a little naughty, but I want to. I'm not giving you a very honest answer right now.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just letting you know. Disclaimer, guys.
Yeah.
Because I pride myself in my honesty. But the second option would be I want to go on a food binging trip to like crazy, like maybe go like to Eastern countries and binge on food, or go to European countries and binge on food. If I'm going to Europe, it'll be Italy. I've heard too much about the food there, and I love cheese.
Okay, fine. The one habit you wish to change, but it's work in progress.
Mashallah, I've reached a very good stage with my habits. I would say, no, I like my life.
Cool, that's perfect actually. So, on a day when you're demotivated, how do you pick yourself up and get back?
2 days ago, I got introduced, or 3 days ago, I got introduced to this very beautiful surah. My God, I love it so much. It's so beautiful. It's called Surah Ad-Duha. And it was basically revealed to the Prophet, peace be upon him, when he was depressed and anxious. And basically what had happened was, in his life, no revelation had come for 6 months.
That's okay.
And he thought that God had left him. Like, he's like, why is God not talking to me anymore? So he was really down under the weather. And this beautiful, it's just such a small 10 ayah surah, and that was revealed to him. And I heard and I found out about it. I didn't know about it. I just started my spiritual journey. I've not been like up until really recently. I was very different zone, but now I've started my spiritual journey, and I just got introduced like a few days ago, and yeah, that really picks me up. And another thing that I do, and I just shared this with a friend yesterday, is and this is good. I hope maybe somebody learns something from it. Is that we all have really low days. We all are going to have them probably more than our good days, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
The way you pick yourself up from that is a very simple trick or tip that I can give is I don't voice my pain or my negative thoughts. I don't say it out loud, because I've heard this somewhere. I don't know how far it's true. That if you have a thought, maybe it's like, let's say it's 1%, 10% power, right? It's got power of 10% to be like true. But if you voice something, that thought, if you voice it, it becomes 10 times more powerful. This is somewhere I heard this, right? So I have stopped saying negative words about myself. Like if I'm really under the weather and I'm like, even though if my mind is, for example, saying something like, oh, you messed up, oh, you suck, oh, this, that, like my mind's going off on that tangent, I will say, you know what, I did okay. Like if I messed up a scene, I'll just say, if my mind is like messing around and saying, oh, you're a bad actor, you're not supposed to be here, you know what I'll say? Like, just to shut myself up, I'll be like, you know what, I'm an actor. If I don't have the strength to say I'm a good actor or I'm a decent actor or I made a mistake, if I don't have the strength that day, I will not say it. I will just say, you know what, I'm an actor. So my tip or trick is, do not voice your negative thoughts, even to your friends. I know what people are going to say, it's counterproductive. You're not sharing. But if you practice this for a long enough time where you don't voice your negative thoughts, you get, first of all, a sense of power. Right? You have all your conversations with the higher being, with God. And thirdly is, you don't sit in that world. Like if I sit and tell you, yeah, you know what, man, I'm feeling terrible, I'm like this and I'm like that, and then you just start feeling it.
Yeah, that's true.
Instead, just be quiet. You're feeling it, accept that you're feeling it, and it will pass. Just be strong enough to have patience and don't say those things. Affirm good things to yourself.
Yeah, that's a wonderful tip. And since you have fallen in love with the city, like you said, so any places that you would recommend to other people, outsiders who are moving, maybe? Anything.
I'm a foodie.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm going to give you Japanese food. Right now, my new fad is Japanese food, miso. Oh, it's so good. I'm hungry. That's really good. Then Chin Chin Chu for Chinese in town. The town one is very good. For an experience, you should go to Bhori Molla, which is Muhammad Ali Road in town. It's quite an experience. Gulab Jamun Rabdi in Jogeshwari is something you need to definitely try. Chantilly in Bandra has some amazing desserts. Trishna has good seafood in town.
Yeah.
Okay, मेरे को भूख लग रही है. Shri Thakkar Bhojanalaya veg thali.
Okay.
If you're into veg thalis, go to Shri Thakkar Bhojanalaya in town.
All right. Okay. I'm sure.
And last one.
That.
Last one I'm giving you.
Okay.
Parsi Dairy Farm. I'm hoping after this interview, I'm going to town. I'm hoping Parsi. I was telling my stylist that after this, if our next interview is near Parsi Dairy Farm, we're going to get basundi, we're going to get masala milk, we're going to get lassi, we're going to get paneer pakoda, we're going to get paneer and milk cake.
Okay.
It's okay.
I'm sure your fans are going to take note of that, all these places. Yeah, the best and worst part about the Mumbai monsoons.
I'll give you an analogy. You eat a cheesecake. The best part about a cheesecake is it's a cheesecake. It tastes amazing, this and that. Now, if you put a gun to my head, okay, the negatives are the calories and the extra sugar, all that you're gonna. But that's the thing about the monsoons. I don't think there's anything negative. It's beautiful, man. Like, yeah, it gets a little dirty, but come on, man. All the time you want to be prim and proper. All the time you. ठीक है ना यार. कभी-कभार थोड़ा सा अच्छा लगता है. And the best part is the smell. I love the smell of monsoon.
Red flags in a relationship for you.
An unkind heart.
The weirdest rumor you have heard about yourself.
That I was married to Shivani and Monica and I have a mansion. I wish the mansion was true, but yeah.
So you're married to two people basically.
I got married to one, we got divorced, got married to another one. I was like, who's making this stuff up, man?
Going without your phone for a day or going without sleep for a night?
Of course, throw away the phone for a week.
Yeah.
I aspire to be like Christopher Nolan. I aspire to get to a place in my life, in my career, where I don't need my phone. Like, I aspire, like, God, let me become that big in this industry. Let me become that big that I don't need a smartphone. I'd be so happy.
Thank you so much
Thank
for doing
you, I
this.
had so much fun.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.